Inside Hampton Court Palace, daylight streams through the window, casting a stark silhouette of King Henry VIII as he gazes out, lost in thought. A heavy silence hangs in the air, broken only by the distant sounds of the bustling court. His Majesty's broad shoulders are tense, suggesting a storm brewing within. Thomas Cromwell approaches with measured steps, his presence cautious and respectful. The soft footfalls on the cold stone floor echo the delicate balance of power at play. Cromwell pauses, awaiting the king's acknowledgement, his fate hanging in the balance of a single word. In the dimly lit Hampton Court Palace chapel, Catherine of Aragon kneels, her head bowed in solemn prayer. A somber anticipation fills the air as she awaits Henry, the silence broken only by the soft rustle of her dress. Shadows dance across the ancient stones, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. Each breath is a silent plea, a fragile hope against the weight of expectation. Within the cold, echoing halls of Hampton Court Palace, Henry's restless figure casts long, dancing shadows, illuminated by flickering candlelight. Frustration carves deep lines into his face, a stark testament to his burning desire for a son. The silence of the night amplifies the crushing weight of the kingdom upon his shoulders. Turning sharply towards Cromwell, Henry's voice resonates with raw anxiety. Another night, another failure. His words echo in the vast chamber as he laments. England needs an heir, Cromwell. A son. The king's desperation intensifies as he questions the very essence of his reign. What good is a kingdom without a successor to secure its future? In the radiant daylight of Hampton Court Palace Gardens, Anne Boleyn's beauty and intelligence command attention. She moves with captivating grace, the court drawn in by her magnetic presence. Her laughter rings out, clear and bright, as she engages in sparkling conversation. Smiles bloom around her, each courtier eager to bask in the warmth of her favor. Every gesture, every word, a display of her wit and charm, solidifying her place at the heart of the court. Sunlight floods Hampton Court Palace, illuminating the grandeur of the hall and the subtle dance of dust motes in the air. Henry, robust and regal, stands before Anne, his presence commanding and filled with unspoken desire. Anne's dark eyes flash with intelligence and a hint of defiance, her gaze meeting Henry's with unwavering strength. With fervent passion, Henry declares, "I declare my love for you, Anne," his voice echoing through the silent chamber. Anne's response cuts through the heavy air, her words laced with resolve. "I refuse to become just another mistress." The unspoken stakes hang in the balance as their eyes lock in a silent battle of wills and desires. Henry bursts into Cardinal Wolsey's opulent office, fury barely contained behind a regal facade. The room is lavish, a testament to Wolsey's power, yet the air crackles with impending conflict. Cardinal Wolsey stands firm behind his imposing desk, an island of ecclesiastical calm. A flicker of apprehension betrays the cardinal's composed exterior, hinting at the storm to come. The contrast between king and cardinal intensifies, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. The opulent setting serves as a gilded cage, trapping both men in a web of power and intrigue. Sunlight floods the royal library, motes of dust swirling in golden shafts, illuminating the imposing grandeur of ancient knowledge. Henry sits immersed among towering stacks of religious texts, the weight of his crown and desires pressing heavily upon him. His brow furrows in intense concentration as he pores over brittle pages, desperately seeking a path to his annulment. Fingers trace faded ink, each word a potential key to unlocking his future and securing his legacy. The air is thick, with the scent of aged parchment and unspoken prayers, each promising or denying his heart's deepest wish. The massive oak table groans under the weight of history, and Henry's ambition, the library holding its breath in anticipation. The streets of London pulse with life, yet a palpable anxiety hangs heavy in the air. Commoners gather in hushed groups, their faces reflecting the weight of the king's great matter. Murmurs ripple through the crowds, each whispered word a testament to the growing unease. Worried glances are exchanged as the common folk grapple with the uncertainty of their kingdom's fate. The vibrant city is subdued by the collective apprehension, each citizen burdened by unspoken fears. The air itself seems to vibrate with the tension of a nation holding its breath, awaiting a resolution. In the grand papal court in Rome, solemn-faced ambassadors kneel, their expressions etched with desperation. Pope Clement VII sits heavily upon his ornate throne, his face a mask of deep worry. The Pope listens intently, his gaze flickering between the pleading figures before him and unseen forces. A palpable tension fills the air, the weight of the Pope's impossible decision pressing down on the court. He is caught, a man squeezed between the fervent desires of King Henry and the looming shadow of Charles V. The fate of kings and kingdoms hangs in the balance, suspended in the silent chamber. Sunlight bathes Hampton Court Palace, illuminating its majestic halls. Anne Boleyn stands before Henry, her presence radiating youthful ambition and confidence. Her eyes sparkle with playful assurance as she gazes upon the king. A promise hangs in the air, whispered with seductive certainty. "When I am queen, my love, you shall have your son." The light catches the subtle, knowing smile playing on her lips, a silent vow of power and ambition. Catherine of Aragon stands, an unyielding figure amidst the swirling storm of courtly intrigue. Her eyes reflect a regal defiance, unshaken by the pressures threatening to engulf her. A queen's resolve hardens her features, each line etched with the weight of her crown and her vows. Her voice resonates through the chamber, firm and unwavering. "My marriage is valid," she declares, her words echoing with the force of her conviction. "I insist upon it," she finishes, a challenge ringing in the air. Inside Parliament, sunlight floods through the towering windows, highlighting the solemn grandeur of the chamber. Thomas Cromwell stands tall before the assembled members, a scroll clutched firmly in his hand. With a deliberate flourish, he unrolls the scroll, the fate of the kingdom hanging in the balance. His voice rings out, bold and resolute. "I propose the act in restraint of appeals." Sunlight floods through the stained glass of Canterbury Cathedral, painting the ancient stone in vibrant hues. Dust motes swirl in the illuminated air, dancing like spirits in the sacred space. Before a hushed gathering, Thomas Cranmer, Archbishop of Canterbury, stands with a solemn countenance. His voice echoes through the cathedral, weighty with consequence. "I hereby declare the marriage between King Henry and Catherine of Aragon invalid," he proclaims, the words hanging in the air like a death knell. In the secret chamber, dim light flickers across the ancient stone walls, casting eerie, dancing shadows. Henry, regal and resolute, stands solemnly before Anne, her face bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. Their hushed voices echo in the confined space as they exchange sacred vows. The chamber holds its breath, witnessing a moment of profound commitment in the flickering candlelight. Bathed in the radiant sunlight, Westminster Abbey stands as a silent witness to history. Anne, visibly pregnant, kneels in solemn reverence before the Archbishop, her eyes reflecting a mix of hope and trepidation. The crown, a symbol of immense power and responsibility, is gently placed upon her head, its weight palpable. A wave of hushed anticipation sweeps through the assembled crowd, their faces a sea of expectations and unspoken hopes. The weight of the crown feels heavy as it is placed upon her head. A murmur sweeps through the assembled crowd. Sunlight pierces through leaded glass, casting dancing dust motes across Catherine of Aragon's opulent chambers. A royal messenger, fraught with unease, concludes reading from the scroll, his voice barely audible in the echoing space. Catherine stands rigid, her face a mask concealing years of political strife and personal anguish. A single tear escapes, tracing a solitary path down her cheek, a silent testament to her inner turmoil. In the opulent chambers of the Vatican, the Pope stands, a figure of immense power and unwavering resolve. His face, etched with righteous anger, reflects the gravity of the moment. The Pope raises his hand, the papal ring gleaming, a symbol of divine authority and impending doom. His voice booms through the chamber, resonating with the weight of centuries of tradition. With fiery eyes, he delivers the ultimate ecclesiastical punishment. Henry is excommunicated. The Grand Hall of Parliament buzzes with hushed anticipation, robes rustling amongst the assembled figures. Henry stands tall, his presence commanding the room with an aura of power and unwavering resolve. A clerk approaches, bearing a rolled parchment, the fate of many resting in his hands. With a dramatic flourish, he unfurls the ancient document, revealing its secrets to the eager eyes. The light catches the parchment, illuminating the words that will shape the destiny of the nation. Sunlight barely breaches the barred windows of the Tower of London, casting long shadows on the damp stone. Dust motes swirl in the weak light, illuminating the cold, unyielding walls of their prison. Religious reformers huddle together, their faces gaunt with weariness and etched with defiance. Imprisoned for their opposition, they stand as silent testaments against Henry's actions. Anne lies back against the pillows, her face flushed with exhaustion yet radiant with new motherhood. In her arms, she cradles the newborn Elizabeth, a tiny bundle of hope and royal destiny. Henry stands close, his expression a complex blend of relief at the successful birth and disappointment at the lack of a male heir. The weight of expectation settles in the room, a silent acknowledgement of the shifting tides of fortune. Inside the opulent Hampton Court Palace, Anne clutches her stomach, a grimace of excruciating pain twisting her features. A crimson stain spreads ominously across her elaborate gown, stark against the rich fabric. Her strength failing, she collapses onto the plush carpet, a heap of royal despair. From a distance, Henry observes the unfolding tragedy, his expression an inscrutable mask. Panic floods the scene as royal attendants rush to Anne's side, their faces etched with terror and concern. The vibrant colors of the palace now serve as a cruel backdrop to Anne's agonizing plight. Within the royal court, a palpable tension fills the air. Courtiers cast furtive glances, their hushed whispers weaving a web of unease. A low, unsettling hum vibrates through the crowded hall, each word a potential spark igniting into scandal. Accusations of Anne's alleged infidelities ripple through the court. A dark shadow descends upon the once celebrated queen, threatening to consume her. In the Tower of London, Anne stands defiant in a cold, stone chamber, the chill seeping into her bones. Guards encircle her, their grim faces betraying the weight of unspoken accusations hanging heavy in the air. Each stone whispers tales of betrayals and falls from grace, amplifying the isolating dread. The heavy silence bears down, a suffocating prelude to the inevitable. In the stark confines of Anne Boleyn's cell, a solitary candle struggles against the encroaching darkness, painting the stone walls with dancing shadows. Seated on a humble straw pallet, Anne's face is a canvas of conflicting emotions, regret and defiance warring within her. Though weariness weighs heavily on her, a flicker of the ambition that once drove her to the throne still burns in her eyes. The silence of the cell is a heavy shroud, broken only by the distant, muffled sounds of the castle, a constant reminder of the world she is about to leave. Each shadow seems to whisper of past glories and impending doom, as Anne Boleyn faces her final night with a mixture of sorrow and unyielding pride. On Tower Green, Anne kneels before the executioner's block, her silhouette stark against the cold stone. A hush falls over the gathered crowd, their faces a sea of stunned silence under the unforgiving daylight. The air is thick with unspoken dread, every eye fixed on the tragic figure awaiting her fate. A moment of chilling stillness hangs heavy, the world holding its breath as destiny looms. Within the grand halls of Hampton Court Palace, news arrives for Henry. The message speaks of Anne's execution, a somber decree, delivered with cold finality. Henry receives the words, his face a mask, an impenetrable fortress of royal composure. behind the unreadable facade, the weight of power and the sting of betrayal linger, unspoken and unseen. In the resplendent royal court, King Henry commands attention with his powerful stride. With a sweeping gesture, he directs the court's gaze towards Jane Seymour, who stands beside him, a picture of serene composure. Henry's voice booms through the hall, declaring with royal authority, "I present to you my new queen, Jane Seymour." A hush falls over the court as all eyes turn to the new queen, awaiting her reaction to the momentous proclamation. Inside the opulent royal bedchamber, Jane Seymour lies in the massive bed, her face a portrait of exhaustion and radiant joy. In her arms rests a newborn babe, Edward, the promise of a dynasty cradled against her. Henry stands beside them, his visage alight with unadulterated, fatherly joy, a rare and precious sight. The room is filled with a palpable sense of hope, the weight of the crown momentarily forgotten in the miracle of new life. Sunlight streams through the window, casting a golden glow upon the scene, as if blessing this moment of peace and unity. In the dimly lit royal court, Jane Seymour lies still upon the birthing bed, her face ashen and drawn. The scent of herbs hangs heavy in the air, a stark reminder of life's fragility. Henry stands beside her, a towering figure of grief against the soft light. Sorrow carves deep lines into his face as he gazes upon the pale form of his queen. He gently takes her hand, his eyes reflecting a profound and heartbreaking loss. Inside the grand royal court, King Henry stands tall, radiating pomp under the ornate ceilings. Across from him, Anne of Cleves awaits, unaware of the king's growing discontent. The ceremony unfolds with formality, each gesture precise and laden with expectation. Yet, a shadow crosses Henry's face, his initial enthusiasm fading into visible regret. The weight of his decision settles heavily as he exchanges vows, the court's splendor failing to mask his inner turmoil. Sunlight floods the royal court, illuminating the high-arched windows and the opulent setting. At the altar, Henry stands regal, the weight of the crown evident in his posture. Beside him, Catherine Howard radiates youthful beauty as she prepares to marry the king. A momentous occasion unfolds, the court holding its breath in anticipation of the royal union. Catherine Howard stands defiant in the heart of the royal court, a solitary figure amidst a sea of judging eyes. Stern-faced guards flank her, their presence a stark reminder of the grave accusations that darken the air. Though pale, Catherine's head remains high, her posture a silent challenge to the whispers rippling through the assembled courtiers. The weight of the adultery accusations presses down, palpable in the tense silence that grips the court. The guards advance, their movements signaling the inexorable march toward an uncertain fate. Cold, gray light seeps through the narrow windows of the Tower of London, casting long shadows on the ancient stone. Catherine Howard, young and stricken with terror, is escorted toward the execution block, her silk dress whispering against the stone floor. Grim-faced guards form an impassable wall around her, their presence amplifying the suffocating dread. Catherine stumbles, her wide, fearful eyes darting around, desperately seeking an escape from the inevitable. Sunlight paints the royal court in vibrant hues, streaming through stained glass windows onto the assembled figures. Henry, a picture of robust regality, stands steadfast at the altar, awaiting his bride. Beside him, Catherine Parr exudes a quiet grace, her face a canvas of intelligence and heartfelt kindness. The air is thick with anticipation as the royal wedding prepares to unite two souls under the watchful eyes of the court. In the opulent royal court, Henry's gaunt face betrays his inner turmoil, his eyes darting with a nervous energy. His trembling hands grip the throne, a desperate attempt to maintain control amidst the growing fear. The once vibrant hall now feels heavy, each shadow whispering secrets of impending doom. Paranoia begins to consume him, twisting his features into a mask of suspicion. Every word he speaks is now laced with tyranny, the court silenced under the weight of his unspoken fear. Sunlight pierces through the grand arched windows of the royal chambers, casting dancing motes of light upon the solemn scene. Henry, the king, sits heavily on the ornate bed, his posture reflecting the burden of his crown and his troubled thoughts. The crown seems to amplify the lines of worry etched deep into his face, each crease telling a story of regret and responsibility. Lost in contemplation, the weight of his kingdom bears down on him, a silent struggle unfolding in the heart of royalty. The royal chambers are steeped in silence, the air thick with unspoken grief. Soft weeping echoes through the chamber, a mournful chorus from the courtiers. Candlelight flickers across Henry's still face, highlighting his pallor. A palpable weight of loss hangs heavy, suffocating the grand space. Each shadow seems to deepen the sense of finality and despair. The silence amplifies the absence of life, a stark testament to the king's passing. Within the hallowed vastness of Westminster Abbey, a sea of nobles, clergy, and eager onlookers gathers, their anticipation palpable. Shafts of colored light pour through the stained glass windows, painting the ancient stone with vibrant hues as the coronation unfolds. Before the towering figure of the Archbishop, young Edward VI kneels, his face a mask of solemnity as history converges upon him. The weight of the crown descends, settling upon his head, a symbol of power and destiny. Sunlight pierces the stained glass windows of the royal court, casting vibrant hues across the stone floor and illuminating the dust motes suspended in the air. A vast hall echoes with hushed whispers, the nervous energy palpable among the assembled courtiers. Banners bearing the Tudor rose hang heavy from the rafters, their once vibrant colors muted by the oppressive atmosphere. The air crackles with unspoken religious tension, a storm brewing beneath the veneer of courtly decorum. Political unease casts a long shadow over the proceedings, each gesture and glance weighted with hidden meaning. In the dimly lit royal chambers, Edward VI lies pale and frail upon the ornate bed, his shallow breaths barely disturbing the heavy air. Sunlight struggles to penetrate the heavy curtains, casting long shadows across the room, a visual testament to the somber atmosphere. The weight of the crown seems to press down even in its absence, a silent burden felt by all within the chamber. Each labored breath echoes in the stillness, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the looming shadow of mortality. The ornate details of the room, once symbols of power and majesty, now serve as a poignant backdrop to a scene of quiet suffering. A palpable sense of anticipation and dread fills the air, as if the very walls hold their breath, awaiting the inevitable. Within the ancient Tower of London, torchlight dances across the solemn stone walls as history unfolds. Mary Tudor kneels, her face a portrait of unwavering resolve as scarlet robes pool around her. The heavy crown descends, a symbol of England's destiny resting upon her brow. Banners bearing Catholic symbols unfurl, their vibrant colors cutting through the somber air. A hush falls over the assembled courtiers, a wave of reverence washing through the ancient hall. Catholicism is restored, marking a seismic shift in the nation's spiritual landscape under its new queen. Sunlight struggles to penetrate the high stone walls of the grim execution yard, casting long shadows across the scene. Mary Tudor stands, her eyes cold and implacable as she surveys the condemned Protestants awaiting their fate. A palpable tension hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the metallic scent of blood already spilled. The stark reality of death looms over the yard, a silent testament to the power and ruthlessness of the Queen. In the dimly lit royal chambers, heavy velvet curtains cast long shadows over the scene. Mary Tudor lies still in her bed, her face pale and gaunt against the dark linens. Silence hangs heavy, the air thick with unspoken farewells and the weight of a dying reign. Mary Tudor breathes her last, leaving the throne vacant and a nation in waiting. Sunlight floods the Tower of London, each ray illuminating the ancient stones and swirling dust motes. Guards heave open the heavy wooden doors, their faces grim in the bright light. Pale but regal, Elizabeth I steps forward, her expression unreadable. A hush falls over the assembled crowd, anticipation hanging thick in the air. The silence shatters as the crowd erupts into a cheer, a wave of sound washing over Elizabeth. Elizabeth I is released from the Tower and declared Queen of England, the narration proclaims, sealing her destiny. The streets of London pulse with life as a jubilant crowd gathers, their collective cheers resonating through the city. Banners bearing the regal crest of England flutter high, catching the sunlight and casting dancing shadows on the ecstatic faces below. A palpable sense of hope and exhilaration fills the air, transforming the city into a sea of waving flags and bright smiles. The very stones beneath their feet seem to vibrate with the energy of a nation united in joyous celebration of Elizabeth's ascension. Every window and balcony is adorned, as if the city itself is breathing a sigh of relief and embracing a new era with open arms. Sunlight floods the royal court through towering arched windows, casting a golden glow upon the bustling scene. Upon her throne sits Elizabeth I, her gaze steady and calm as she surveys her domain. Diplomats murmur in hushed tones, their whispers weaving through the grand hall. Merchants eagerly display their wares, hoping to catch the Queen's discerning eye. Advisors gather in tight circles, their strategic discussions shaping the future of the realm. A palpable sense of stability and prosperity hangs in the air, a testament to Elizabeth's reign. Bathed in sunlight, Elizabeth stands resolute in the war room, surrounded by maps and anxious faces. Her brow furrows as she studies the naval charts, the weight of command etched in her expression. With a decisive gesture, she points to a location, the room holding its breath in anticipation. A moment of tense silence breaks as she gives a confident nod, sealing the fate of many. Sunlight pierces through the royal court's arched windows, casting a golden glow upon the scene. Dust motes dance in the illuminated air, creating an ethereal atmosphere within the majestic hall. Upon the throne sits Elizabeth, her presence radiating confidence and hard-earned wisdom. Lords and ladies bow deeply, their faces reflecting profound respect and unwavering admiration for their queen. The vibrant banners of England hang proudly, symbols of prosperity and the strength of Elizabeth's reign. A palpable sense of stability fills the court, a testament to the enduring power and wisdom of the throne. Sunlight floods the royal chambers, motes of dust swirling in golden shafts, highlighting the room's solemn stillness. At an imposing desk, laden with documents, Elizabeth, a queen, weathered by time, sits in regal solitude. Her gaze drifts towards the distant horizon beyond the arched windows, a weariness deepening the lines on her face. A half-written letter sits forlornly before her, the ink glistening like unshed tears. A sigh escapes her lips, the sound swallowed by the vastness of the chamber, a poignant echo of unspoken burdens. Sunlight pierces through the stained glass windows of Westminster Abbey, painting the solemn scene in vibrant hues. On her deathbed, Elizabeth I lies, her face pale yet her eyes still gleaming with the fire of her formidable spirit. The air hangs heavy with the scent of incense, mingling with the hushed murmurs of attendants and nobles gathered in vigil. Around the Queen, England holds its breath, the fate of a nation hanging in the balance. Even in her final moments, Elizabeth's piercing gaze commands attention, a queen until the very end.